And we're live.
Awesome. Welcome, everybody. Hey, thanks for tuning in to our live session today. With me, I have Kamil and Owen. Thank you guys so much for agreeing to join us. And the topic for today is career in Web3. Um, right now, going into Web3 is very much different to what it was a couple of years ago, even a year ago. And we want to explore a bit more the steps you need to take before taking your first job in Web3, how to prepare, how to set yourself for success, where to apply, and how to tweak your resume in a way that this works, especially looking at the broader context of what's happening in the world right now. So how to make your resume stand out in the age of AI, how to make yourself useful to the company that you're applying to, and how to make the best impression. Let's start with a short introduction. Owen, could you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, thanks very much for having me, and great to be speaking to you guys again. And yeah, I guess recruiting in blockchain tech now for over 5 years, and had the privilege of helping a wide array of different projects from L1s, DeFi projects, market makers, trading firms. Yeah, pretty much a broad stack across multiple different disciplines, from marketing, BD, all the way through to various different types of engineering roles, from Solidity, Rust, Golang, among others. So yeah, no, looking forward to answering any questions today, and yeah, always great to catch up.
Thank you, Owen. Owen is also one of our speakers at last year's ETHWarsaw conference. Thank you again for coming to speak to us again. Kamil, you're my office mate, but could you tell us a bit about yourself?
Sure. So I'm currently working as a head of engineering at Ramp Network. I've been with crypto, I would like to say this from very beginning. My dissertation at university was actually about crypto in 2012. I still stayed with finance for quite a while as well, close to trading, anything related to banking as well. And yeah, and I was really fascinated how crypto kind of changed everything when it came to finance and to banking, and yeah, and stayed since then, and yeah, progressing in this area since then. So almost 15 years now.
Wow, 15 years, that's a long time. I wanted to say that since I got recruited to work into Web3, things have changed, but I guess it have changed significantly more since the first time you got involved with crypto. Owen, I have a first question to you. Your day to day is hiring, recruitment. Right now, what's the real entry bar for someone entering Web3, who wants to be a developer in a Web3 company? How much do you actually need to know to be hireable in Web3? How much of an experience do you need to have with crypto in itself? Do you need to be a specialist in that space? You need to be an active crypto user. How much do you actually need to know?
Yeah, it's a very interesting time, I guess, in the crypto hiring market at the moment. I guess on one side of things, I suppose the talent pool is a lot more diverse, multiple different backgrounds, whether it's a lot more legal and finance people now. But I guess on the developer side of things, on the crypto native side of things especially, it has been a pretty difficult couple of months for sure for a lot of engineers. A lot of major ecosystems have restructured or laid off people, and yeah, so I would say that and as well as that, I guess a lot more mandates that are coming through tend to indicate a strong preference for urban centres like New York or London, unfortunately. But I would definitely add that there's a lot of innovation happening on the payment side of things, and on the obviously stablecoin side as well. So I guess yeah, like there is still opportunities there, but you know, I would say that the bar is definitely significantly higher than it was a couple of years ago, and even to your point, even a year ago. Yeah.
With the changes that you've mentioned, with a lot of companies going into different modes, switching more towards enterprise, which roles do you see growing in demand and which are less important right now?
Yeah, so I guess in terms of, I suppose in terms of marketing, the landscape has improved or kind of changed drastically over the last number of months. I guess things like social media roles, marketing roles, generally speaking, have struggled a lot. And I guess I guess one area of marketing that has done pretty well is product marketing, and BD is also very strong. Partnerships is very strong. Yeah, and yeah, there is obviously still developer roles, especially in the Solana ecosystem, going very well as well.
Yeah. With those marketing and social media roles, how much experience in crypto specific do they need? Because at some point this was, I remember doing marketing and Web3, and this is very much focused on your ability to follow trends and being, you know, ever present on crypto Twitter, and, you know, being able to catch those viral trends. So how much actual crypto knowledge you need to have to become a Web3 marketer or a social media person?
Yeah, so the game has changed, I suppose, to a large degree over the last few months in crypto marketing for sure. I guess retail has left the room, and it's very much enterprise focused now, and revenue generating focus. And yeah, I guess the thing like running on hype isn't that playbook no longer works. So again, a lot of the roles out there at the moment tend to be focused on product marketing and actually acquiring real actual customers rather than actual pump our bags customers, because that area of crypto is definitely yeah, like attracting token holders or speculators. And from a marketing perspective, those roles don't really exist anymore to a large degree, yeah, or at least for the time being, anyway.
Well, crypto going enterprise is this one magical thing that everybody really wanted for a long time, and then we have it, and it's not exactly as we expected it to be. And I think that's going to translate very much to what kind of roles will be in demand for the next few years. That will effectively mean that a lot of people working already at big enterprises, at big fintech companies, will have to get themselves up to speed on what's blockchain and how to use that, and generally how you want to implement that in your workflow. And I'm pretty sure that quite a lot of them will opt for like quick conversation with Claude or ChatGPT. Hey, teach me that. Do you think this is possible to? Do you think it's possible to rely on AI when building blockchain products? And I want to direct this question to Kamil, because before we went live, we talked about how blockchain is not really how blockchain is still like standing strong against the AI movement. Maybe not against, but building blockchain still require more work than other areas, and AI is not necessarily as much helpful here as in other places it would be.
Yes, that's correct. It's not really the best one in this area, and it's particularly because AI is a pattern matching tool in the end. Like it kind of accelerates what you can do with it, but it needs to learn on something. And because the market is relatively new. I mean, of course, it's been with us for a couple of years already, but it's not such a big community in comparison to other areas like web development and so on. So it doesn't really have places where you can learn, right? And I think in that regard, Web3 is kind of secured in terms of the AI making a big impact here. because it's simply make mistakes. It can do basic stuff, right? It can write basic smart contracts, but that's basically it. And if we look at the fact that everything going enterprise and it's getting more requires more governance and kind of audit, going through audits and stuff like that, that basically means that there is no room for mistake and there is no room for hallucination, right? As AI likes to do. So yeah, I think AI is great and can help with many things and definitely can speed up the development even in the Web3 market and products for sure, because there are certain areas like writing tests and things like that where it can help. But it's definitely not gonna write you a secure contracts and be auditable by professionals that can simply spot the mistakes that are there. And it's not gonna prepare you for, it's not gonna make you not vulnerable. It's gonna be definitely be the case that it's not gonna be secured enough for companies to actually trust it. And I think it's gonna happen. Like it's gonna be like that for quite a while still.
In the age of Copilot and other tools that significantly help you build your applications, what skills do you both feel are important in building your resume right now? Is it ability to cross-check what's being done for you by AI, or is it something else? Maybe let's start with Owen, and
Yes,
not simply from the development perspective.
Yeah, no, I'm not quite sure what the question is exactly, but I guess I always say that AI should be like it should be used to help you, not do your job for you, I suppose, especially at the moment. Yeah, like obviously people have, like, for example, companies generally don't have any problem with candidates using AI for take-home assignments. But if it's purely all AI, well then there's a problem, for example. So again, AI is an aid, not a crutch, and again, it should be always treated in accordingly in that respect, I feel. So yeah, I guess from an engineering point of view, like even spoke to a guy this morning who uses AI because there's a lot of I guess tech debt in his firm, and it kind of helps him speed up his process of working, for example. So again, that's maybe it's probably an example of where AI can be helpful in terms of speeding up work and helping aid his day to day and helping him speed up. But yeah, no, I'm curious to know. Obviously, Kamil, I think from an engineering point of view, is obviously more qualified to answer in that respect. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. It should be a kind of a magnifier or accelerator of what you do, right? So for sure, if you don't use AI, then you make a big mistake. But if you use it for everything and you think it's gonna solve all your problems, this is also a big mistake, right? So you're still required as a developer to think, to take ownership of things, to make things work, right? And of course, you can write your code yourself, but you can also use AI to make it faster. And I think this is the kind of skill, like a collaboration of those skills is something what people are really looking in especially junior devs, right? Because you need to, you still need to be able to deliver, but you can do it way faster right now, and you need to utilize those tools for sure.
You mentioned junior devs, and I think we've all been a part of the discussion where to some extent, the position of a junior dev might be eliminated just because the tools like Copilot or Claude Code are there to do the job of someone who's a bit more junior. In such landscape, in such environment, how do you, what would be your first thing? What would be your first project to do if you were a junior dev today, Kamil, and wanted to apply for a job in a Web3 company? How would you approach that? How do you differentiate yourself?
Yeah, I think it's important to. I don't think this significantly changed from the past, right? Like, I mean, the best companies always are looking for proactive people that stay close to the market, stay close with the trends, and understand what's actually happening in the area. So I think this is kind of the biggest difference. Like before, there was a lot of demand for developers that everyone kind of could slip through, right? But that's not longer the case. Like you're actually looking for people that are passionate about the Web3 and blockchain, understands it, stay close to it, understand the trends, understand what's going on, how the market evolves, and I think those are the key things that you need to be aware of. Like if I would be looking at someone's resume, I'm gonna look into those areas. I can accept the fact that someone is junior, but if they don't stay close to what is happening and don't follow the trends, don't build things as well around it. Like I think this is kind of the biggest differentiator right now, that I always be looking into someone's GitHub or GitLab to see if they develop even simplest projects, but like from Web3, and they are already building the understanding of the technology. I think this is kind of the biggest differentiator.
That's going to be a little bit off the list, but how do you, Owen, we talked about evaluating someone's interest in Web3 and this being an important factor in the decision whether to hire them or not. How do you evaluate someone's interest in the space for a junior person? They're allowed to not know everything just yet, but what makes you see that this person is truly interested in building in Web3? They want to follow the ecosystem and they really want to stay there to build something important.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I look for proof. It's very easy for someone to say they're passionate and want to learn more, but where's the proof?
Yeah.
So for example, if it was somebody in Warsaw, I'd be asking, have they met with you guys? Have they gone to any local meetups, things like that? Are they involved in yeah, and also like, have they done any kind of supplementary courses? Have they participated in maybe some hackathons, maybe be it virtually or in person? And yeah, just I love kind of helping people that ultimately have shown community involvement, and also kind of proven that they're passionate, because I guess not so much now, but in when times are going good and when the Bitcoin price is going through the roof, it's very easy to get a lot of speculative kind of people reaching out saying, I want to work in this industry, but obviously they're not there. Their interest can be quite dubious at times. Whereas the interesting thing about now is that the people that actually do reach out and are looking to get into the space a lot more and get they actually are genuinely in the main very, very interested, and come with proof of credentials, come with prior proof of interest as well, be it some courses, be it some hobby projects, be it some hackathon involvement, various different things like that, a small portfolio. Yeah, so there are things I look out for. Yeah, general proof of interest. And if there is kind of I guess the good thing that I can help is that if I know if somebody really kind of impresses me kind of and shows that proof of interest, well, if I know somebody very well at such and such a project that they may be relevant to, I can then make a friendly introduction and say, yeah, so like that's kind of how a lot of people get started. They kind of see a project that has maybe done a small raise or has a small team and say, listen, I like what you do, can I help you out a few hours a week? And then it's still a global village, so they can kind of, yeah, one good word leads to another good word and the chain continues. Yeah.
Well, my next question was whether participation in the community is important. I think we got that covered. Community is important. So let me take this opportunity to tell our audience about the bootcamps that ETHWarsaw is launching right now. So for some time at ETHWarsaw, we've been looking at the state of the market, looking at the growing demand for skills in blockchain tech across traditional enterprises and fintech companies. And we feel like there's not enough on-site ERL courses that can get you up to speed with the latest news in blockchain tech. and we wanted to fix that issue. We wanted to bridge the gap, especially for the junior devs that we've been talking about. Make it more possible for them to land their first job in crypto. And this is why we've prepared the ETHWarsaw bootcamps, where they can go from zero to their first working dApp. It's a series of 6 workshops, 3 or 4 hour long, all ERL or all hands-on sessions with practitioners, and at the end of the program, you will end up with at least a few dApps in your GitHub, something that you can show to your future employees as both a proof of interest and also a proof of skills. And we're gonna add a discount code for the bootcamps. So if you watch it, you can type in the code live, and then you get a discount for the event. Okay, thank you for this break for commercials, and let's go back to the discussion that we've paused for a second here. So. During a bootcamp like the one that we're organizing, you will end up with a few apps in your portfolio that you can share with an employer or share with a company that you're applying to. What other skills do you think a blockchain developer should be a future blockchain developer should be working on to make sure to land the job in Web3? And it's partially about the tech skills that you should be developing, but also about the certain skills outside of strict blockchain tech. And we've talked a little bit about being able to use AI to your advantage, but not relying on it fully. I wonder if you could tell me how do you see this perfect portfolio for someone applying, let's say, for a job at Ramp? Like, Kamil, how would you see the portfolio of this person if you're hiring someone right now?
Sure. So the way I like to think about it is because AI can technically do the junior role, right? The junior development. The line between mid engineer and junior engineer is much thinner, because technically right, you arrive at the job and you already can do your job as a junior because AI does it for you, right? So and I think it's not only related like to junior people, but mid engineers and senior engineers as well. You want to accelerate like how you work, right? How you develop stuff and how you ship products, and therefore you basically need a set of skills that will guide AI, right? It's not gonna write itself. You actually need to guide it, and the better you guide it through, the better job it does, right? In the end. So I think that the ideal portfolio here of a junior person is like the line between junior and senior is going to be thinner, because the way I see it, people at senior roles are basically taking ownership. They can take responsibility of what they deliver, and I think it's gonna shift towards junior developers as well. So the expectation will be there that they can not only deliver stuff, but also like take responsibility of their own ownership of what they do. And to do that on the soft skill side, they also have to have those hard skills, right? Which is understanding the system design, architecture of the system, understanding the blockchain technology, and so on. And because of that, like if you arrive as a junior, you can already kind of develop things with the help of AI. And if you look at the old school, let's call it old school kind of way of progression, when you started, you were just responsible to write some tests, fix some bugs, and ship basic things, those kind of things. At the middle level, you already were kind of building bigger things, and then as a senior, you were actually able to take ownership of end-to-end delivery of things. And I think it's gonna kind of accumulate together in the end, for even starting from the junior role. So you actually need to be showing those soft skills of being proactive, taking ownership, being able to deliver from end to end, even simplest things, but making sure you actually do those things. and you don't have, you're not going to just write a rubbish code, but you actually can already do much better job if you know how the architecture works, how you can improve those things, how you can navigate AI to build it good from the very beginning. And I think that's going to be the biggest difference here. For if someone can contribute to that from the day one, even with AI, especially with AI, then that would be a great asset.
So it boils down to using AI as a support that you're using, but it's still not going to replace your creativity or drive and the fact that you want to be doing want to be working on this and want to be doing that.
Precisely. Yes, I think this is gonna be. I think this is gonna be the case. Like you are going to be more of a designer of what's needs to be written rather than just writing the code itself. But like you still need to take the ownership of what's being delivered. Yeah.
That kind of changes the understanding behind hard skills, because it softens the hard skills.
Yes.
You can delegate the coding part to an agent that you built, but you still need to be able to take responsibility of what your agent has built, and also be able to present that to the company and just take that take this additional power that you've got thanks to your model into an actual product. So it very much changes the perception of a developer in general. I think it's gonna force people to become way more social, way more active. And now it makes me think that during those boot camps, we should maybe add like a social panel to that as well, like being able to advocate your ideas, your plans to the team.
I think definitely that would be valuable. I mean, in the end, I think everyone is gonna move towards being like a product engineer rather than just engineer. And you need to be a product engineer. You need to have a good communication skills, and you need to be able to talk to people, because there's gonna be more stakeholders and entities within organization that you need to talk to and communicate your needs and to get the requirements and understand what needs to be built and navigate through this.
Owen, do you see this shift already in your recruitment processes?
Yeah, no, for sure. I guess a lot more like hackathons now. A lot of the people that are participating are coming more so from multiple different backgrounds, non-coding backgrounds participating, and it's really, really interesting to see. So they're bringing their insights from the business world into the coding world, and of course they're is bringing a lot more innovation into the tech scene, not only in blockchain tech, but also in quote unquote Web2 as well. So I do think that as well, like like again, you summarized it perfectly well there, that it'll the hard skills will be softened over a period of time, and that's again, there'll be a lot more social element as well. And I guess if teams are working globally remote, it'll require a lot more kind of communicative ability as well. So for sure. Again, I think that you guys summarized it way better than I ever could, but it's great to see, for example, in hackathons a lot more diverse background of people participating for sure, and AI obviously has a huge bearing on that.
In the ETHWarsaw hackathon that we hosted last year, something that we added only this year as one of the criteria for evaluating the product was the business model and the delivery.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that we actually allowed teams to pitch their ideas live. And this kind of like prompted us to run a workshop on, hey, actually, how do you pitch your ideas? And it's not really, it's right now I feel the skill to pitch your idea is relevant not just to founders and to entrepreneurs, but basically to everybody, because you need to be able to present the thing that you did with present the thing that you did, the idea that you have, and that just signifies the fact that the hard skills are no longer everything that you need to land a job. You need that certain social component, and it's not really something that have been that important before. We have this like very, very big division between I'm just a software developer person. I don't like to talk to people. And now you have this, brilliant, you have this like kind of perfect situation where they can talk exclusively to Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini, Copilot, whatever. And then you tell them, hey, this is very good, but this is not what we're asking of you. Hey, please talk to the team, please talk to the management, communicate with your coworkers and so on. I think it's gonna change. It's gonna annoy a lot of people.
I think so. There was definitely a space before for both types of people, right? There were people that like to work quietly in kind of in the corner, and there was definitely space for those kind of people as well in the companies for a very long time, bringing value. And there was always a space for people that wanted to contribute more broadly within the company, right? And I think it's gonna kind of like disappear, or is already disappearing, I would say, because again, you will need to have much broader skills than be just technically native, right? You will need to actually be able to help build products, not just write the code itself by yourself.
I still think that blockchain has, especially blockchain space, still has some breathing room for those very introvert people, because as you've mentioned at the beginning, it's one of the techs that are not that easily replaced with AI. Like right now, still the security of code, like smart contract code written by AI is questionable. This doesn't really go well with bigger enterprises, with bigger companies, and it doesn't really mark all the green boxes during the audits. So I think we're still going to have a lot of need for someone to sit very quietly, introvertly in their cubicle and verify the code very in an old-fashioned way. But I guess there's a timeline on that. It's not going to be like this all the time. The more advanced we are on that intersection of AI and blockchain, the more difficult it will be to identify which code was written by an agent and which was written by a person. But until then, we still have a lot of demand for people who are not that happy talking to others and want to focus on writing code predominantly. Cool. One more thing to ask you. Right now, if you have someone who is just starting their journey with Web3 development, realistically, how long do you think it's going to take them to get up to speed to, I would say, advanced junior level? So like not someone who already had experience, but someone who is hireable right now. Is 6 weeks enough? Do you need more? Is one afternoon enough?
Just if I can jump in there, like I guess to be like a friend of mine always says it, to be a good blockchain engineer, you also need to be a good software engineer as well. So depends on the basis that they're coming from. But yeah, I would say that probably I would say like people looking to get into the space, explore it before you jump in full time, especially if it's if you're kind of aspiring to go for maybe a more crypto native project. I guess we're at that intersection now where kind of a lot of the blockchain industry is dissolving into general tech. But if you're looking kind of more for a more kind of crypto native type project, I would kind of advise people to explore it first and kind of just do maybe an hour or two a week pro bono work and see if it's for you. And if it is for you, then your interest will naturally accelerate in the first few months. And it really depends on the individual themselves and their willingness to learn. I've seen people go up to speed from a very low basis in a year, and I've seen people that say they're kind of hobby coders, but have it's questionable as to whether they are or not. Yeah, so it really does depend on kind of like the great thing about this industry historically has been that it has allowed people to pivot from multiple different careers. Like I've seen marketers become developers, and I've seen even things like policemen become social media marketers and things like that. Like I've seen people do complete pivots in their careers. So you're in the right industry if you really do want to pivot. But yeah, it depends on how passionate you are that you want to succeed. And I suppose that's like anything in life, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're like jumping from different disciplines, you get different advantages. There's a lot of people jumping into crypto from finance. And I think this is super important to have that deep understanding of how the financial system works. That translates into great results when building stuff in Web3 because you understand what you're building. And that's very often a problem with new joiners from just traditional software engineering, that they don't know that much about financial systems, and what they're going into is a deeply complex financial system. And I think that knowledge is something that very often goes amiss when you do blockchain courses and boot camps, is that you focus entirely on the tech, but without understanding the economical context, you don't really know what you're building.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely correct. And I think one trend that I'm observing, which wasn't the case for sure for I think never actually. It was easy for developers before, for software engineers to actually move between the markets. It was easy to go from, I don't know, logistics to finance, from finance to any other thing. Because in the end, it was you just needed to understand the tech and be able to ship things, right? And that was required from you. You didn't have to understand actually the market that you're joining. And I think this is gonna change a lot. Like people will be required to, like, the better you understand the market you are joining and you are working on is gonna be crucial as well. Like we actually gonna start looking into how much knowledge of the finance you have, how much you have spent. Like if you're migrating from one area to another, it's not gonna give you any help. It's not gonna be helpful for sure, because you need to start understanding the market to be able to ship good products and to actually be able to build those products in the kind of long-term way. Yeah, I think it's gonna be very crucial.
This translates very well into other jobs as well. Same applies to marketing. If you want to do well in crypto marketing, understand the market that you're going into. It's not enough just to be able to build campaigns and to build content. You need to understand what you're actually trying to convey. And same applies to software development, especially when you're applying in a job. Applying for a job in a startup, where very, very often software engineer is by definition a part of the product team. Like you're expected to contribute, you're expected to give your opinion about, hey, I don't think that connection to this particular wallet system works. Maybe we should switch chains, and so on, so on. So I think having that ability to understand your product deeply is a massive bonus when you're getting recruited.
I agree, definitely. I think this is gonna be crucial. And like coming back to your previous question, how much time you need to actually be able to land the job, and how much you need to learn everything about blockchain and join a Web3 company. I think it's very important what Owen said, is that it's a difficult and different market. So make sure you actually want to join, and not just not to join it because you think it's fancy or whatever, right? It's difficult market. It's very interesting one. It's very it's definitely different thing. Like it's like for example, the community that blockchain has and crypto has is outstanding. But you need to make sure that you want to go through this because it's challenging at times for sure. It's going to be more regulated. So I think staying for like from my perspective, like if I would have to hire someone, I think I would look like if someone contributed to the kind of ecosystem for like, I don't know, 12 months, for example, build something. There's GitHub and GitLab, all those kinds of tools when you can actually prove that you were building something, that you stay up with the with the market, stayed up with the trends. You build something, you ship it, you actually experience the struggle, right? At least in some extent. And I think this is going to be extremely helpful if you're looking for a job in Web3.
When looking at this proof of interest and like the tools that you've built versus academic background, what do you think is more important right now?
Owen, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no,
Question.
I guess it really does depend, I guess. I suppose as the industry is going through this maturation phase, I would say the institutional factors are becoming a lot more important. So for example, maybe 2-3 years ago, I would have said hands down, without a shadow of a doubt, proof of interest is a lot more important, and still is obviously more important. But I think the gap is becoming a lot more narrower, and yeah, I guess yeah, like there'll never be a substitute for participation, in my own opinion. But yeah, I would say that academic background is becoming a lot more prevalent, I would say, as the industry matures, and I suppose as like the industry as I suppose there's been a lot of fintechs and getting involved more in the space, and I guess a lot of consolidation as well, and I guess a lot more companies hiring now are a lot more risk averse, so that education maybe can sometimes, good and bad, I suppose, can be seen as yeah, like it's an extra level of assurance, I suppose, is perceived for some employers. But that's the great thing about this industry historically, that always was one of the great motivators for me to become a lot more involved in it, is because people could look beyond a lot more one physical location, and secondly one's academic background, and it gives people the opportunity, as I said earlier, to completely pivot their careers if they demonstrate a proof of interest. Yeah, so yeah, that story
it's
has been
interesting.
written at the, yeah, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, no, I was just saying this is really interesting. That I'd never thought that university background or like kind of education is gonna be helpful. Because if you look at previous years, it wasn't like the case, right? A lot of people were hiring. You didn't have to have like technological background or anything like this to be hired. And I think that was interesting what you said, because I see the same, like more and more actually industries are looking into, and companies are looking into those kind of backgrounds. But I think it's mainly the matter that because of university are actually catching up. Like there was no crypto or blockchain study at the universities before. It was more generic, right? So it was helpful, but it wasn't like, it didn't have a huge impact. But yeah, I think both things gonna be very much relevant and important in the near future.
What would you recommend to a person who's looking to jump in? Should they look for a job in a startup that built something in the Web3 space? Or should they target a bigger company, an enterprise that wants to add a blockchain component to what they're doing? Owen, do you want to take it first?
Yeah, sure. Again, I don't like to give you generic answers, but it does come back down to one's personal risk appetite, for example. And what I'm noticing a lot more among people that are working in the crypto industry is that I suppose they're growing up, they're kind of entering, like they're a lot of the community people working in the space are kind of, they're becoming a lot less risk off. They're becoming a lot more appreciative of maybe mature businesses, and I suppose they want kind of a bit more stability in their professional careers. And yeah, it generally does depend on one's risk appetite. Now, if you're joining a company like an exchange with 2,000 employees, well, you're not going to create generational wealth working for that company realistically. Whereas if you joined a promising project in DeFi or prediction markets or wherever it may be, well, then that opportunity to do well and create arguably a greater impact on the world is greater, but again, with that comes a greater level of risk. I guess, yeah, but again, I get a lot of the crypto community now, I guess over the last kind of year or two, especially, and I guess there is macro reasons for this as well. But a lot of the crypto people now that I've kind of historically worked with over the last number of years, they're growing up, they're starting families. I guess their risk appetite has changed. I guess they have no interest in kind of taking a lesser salary, or less interest in taking a lesser salary for a greater token upside, for example. And I think stability and an element of job security is a lot more appreciated among crypto professionals now compared to what it used to be. I think people still know the rules of the game, that it can't be guaranteed within this industry. And even it could be a case that you join a crypto startup and that crypto startup then gets acquired and then they do restructuring and then you're fired as well. So there is the only certainty in crypto is that working in crypto is that there is no certainty. And yeah, maybe I'm sorry, I'm giving you a long answer to that question there. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a high risk premium in that.
For sure.
That industry. Yeah. I think Bramp is also a good example. On one side, still a startup. On the other side, competing with international fintechs. And on the risk perspective, it's kind of on both ends. Like on one side, it's still a startup, it can fail and so on. On the other side, it's grown up-ish enough that it gives, the job stability and security. So I think there's, if you're a junior dev looking for opportunities, I think you can take your pick. You'll have options both in the DeFi space and the startup space and in the more enterprise space, but they will have different requirements and the processes will be vastly different. That getting hired at a startup can take you 15 minutes or one talk during the conference or 2-hour long calls, and then getting hired in an enterprise can be a month-long process or even longer. So I guess you need to weigh in how much you want to risk, how much you value job security, how much time you have, and what's your I guess what's your preference for how your life's gonna look like for the next few years?
Yeah, for sure. I think I would recommend something in the middle between those two. So you have actually the exposure to things that are happening, which you don't have in the enterprise and the kind of size of the company. So you can actually contribute to what's going on within the company and with the product, and you can actually have the exposure of like much clearer exposure to what you can build and have an impact on this. But on the other side, you don't have this like a very early startup risk of failure or running out of budget and those kind of things. So I think it heavily depends on your risk appetite, but if you're like not sure, then try to find something in the middle. If you want to go fast with your learning and grow fast as well as a developer and as a person that contributes to and make an impact within the company, then I think it's going to be hard to find something like that in the enterprise company. But like a middle-sized company would be perfect for a start.
Cool. Luckily, there's a lot of companies precisely in that in that spectrum. A lot of the companies that were started right around the time that I joined are now in that matured state where you can actually benefit from the stability, but it's still not as corporate as the big teams. So luckily, there's still a lot of opportunities in there, and I think this is a great way to kickstart your career in fintech and eventually land in those enterprise jobs, because they very often source people from that Web3 startup space. They're looking for someone with hands-on experience in building things that they can take that startup energy into this corporate landscape and shake things up a little bit, but also make them move faster. Perfect. I thank you guys so much for talking to me today. I think one learning that I have from this is that transition from hard skills into softer skills. I think in the age of AI, it's super important to remember that you need to understand how the tech around you works, but if you're not able to communicate that to people, it's not going to be you're not going to be able to stand out from other candidates. I want to remind everybody that you still have to test and audit your blockchain code. Make sure you don't push everything that Copilot produces. Make sure you test it. Run it by someone who knows how to do it. And if you want to learn how to do it, sign up for the bootcamp courses that ETHWarsaw is hosting. We're gonna post the link to the discount under this live. And Kamil, Owen, thank you so much for joining. It was a pleasure talking to you, and
Likewise.
we see you soon.
Thank you very
Have a great
much
day.
for having me.
Thanks.
Have a good day. Bye bye.